give it back.
From CHGO, it's Adam Hoge.
I don't think that this is a full rebuild, but you definitely have to retool your roster.
And from The Athletic, it's Adam Jahns.
Hey, what's up, Flus?
And we're going to have measurable ways for standards of performance every single rep, every single game.
Anyway, who cares?
Now, here they are, the Adams, Hoge Jahns.
What's up? Welcome in. Football is back, and my voice is gone, Johnsy.
Oh, man.
It's really
What's
bad.
Going on?
You know, they shouldn't have high school games.
I'm sorry for laughing this much, but
They shouldn't have high school games on Saturday nights. We know this.
you must have been screaming a bunch, my man.
I've never lost my voice in my entire life.
You might need a different profession if you're going to be talking for a living.
It was like mid-first quarter yesterday. I was like, I think I have a problem tomorrow. So, anyway, we're gutting through this. I've already done a pregame today. I just did a 90-minute postgame. Now we got Hoge Jahns. I sound like absolute crap. That's okay.
You
This
sound
is why
tough.
you're here. You're here to carry the show and tell us what the hell happened today, as the Bears are 1-0.
I'm going to pat myself on the back for picking them.
Yeah.
Start with that.
You finally got one right. Good job.
Oh, I've been right a few times here, my friend. I just thought exactly what we saw. Justin Fields is the better quarterback with Trey Lance. He just is. Trey Lance may be good someday, but I think Jimmy Garoppolo, if I'm being honest with you, might have given him a better opportunity to win as the Bears pass rush, as the Bears defense got better and better as this game went on. They were good from the start, though, man. Like, the field position battle wasn't in the Bears' favor. They got the turnover, I think, in the first or second possession. But the defense flustered Trey Lance all day long. Kyler Gordon made an impact. Jaquan Brisker made an impact. Roquan Smith violently tackled Trey Lance on a scramble. They were all over the 49ers quarterback.
Yeah. But how'd you feel about Justin Fields on the other end of it? Because it's one of those games where you look at the stats, they're not impressive, but it was also like a monsoon for a lot of the game. And when it came down to it in the second half, he made the plays they need to make to win the game.
Well, this is where, I think you should inject the argument that the 49ers have one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Aren't they supposed to have that? They look like it. They were supposed to give Justin Fields a hard time. They were supposed to sack him. Nick Bosa was supposed to be Braxton Jones, right? Fred Warner was supposed to be a problem. And those things happened early on. The interception he threw was bad. Didn't see the backside safety coming across. Tried to take Fred Warner's eyes to the right. Missed the safety. Kind of forced the ball to Darnell Mooney a bit, who I don't think had a catch, by the way, but a win's a win.
Mooney had one catch. Cole Kmet had 0.
Which is fine.
And our producer, Kent, started both of them in his fantasy league today. So shout out to him.
That's an L for Kent. But I'm saying it's fine because at some points in this game, it was just sloppy. Justin Fields said afterwards that he tried changing gloves because they got bad. And it wasn't so much the rain, but when he was sliding, he was escaping. It was the field itself.
Yeah.
It was holding the water. It was like a pond in the second half when Trey Lance tried to stage a comeback. But I know what you're saying about Justin Fields, but I want to mention what everybody said about the 49ers heading into this. They have one of the best defenses in the league. So they were supposed to give Justin Fields problems, and they did. But in the second half, he was the better quarterback. It took one big play for that to happen, but that's what you expect him to do in those situations. When the play breaks down, we've talked about this, Adam. It's the play after the play with Justin Fields, and he found Dante Pettis, and that play itself sparked the comeback.
Yeah, when that play happened, he was under such pressure. It was clearly a busted play. And I'm like, I don't even know if that was good, but it was a 51-yard touchdown. But then someone pointed out to me on Twitter, and I totally agree. They're like, yeah, but how many times has that been Aaron Rodgers doing that to the Bears?
They count. Patrick Mahomes scores touchdowns that way too, everybody.
Yeah, it's still a quarterback making a play out of whatever the hell is available, so you take it.
How many times have we seen, let's go back to Mitch Trubisky, even Justin Fields, where his natural reaction would be to scramble would be to get away, would be to keep on running. But he stopped, slowed his feet, threw the pass from the Bears 40 on the numbers, right, across the field to the 30, past the 30 on the numbers. I'm looking at the field right now. It looks pretty good, by the way. I mean, that's a hell of a throw. That's a hell of a throw. We all saw from the press box that he's wide open. Still doesn't mean he can find him right away, right? At least in terms of the sequence of the play.
We're doing the show live today, so we have live comments going on. Some saying R.I.P. Hoagie Cat, you know. Yeah.
Hoge sounds sexy.
Yes, that's a fact. Let's be honest about it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'll take it. Look, regardless, they won the game. A lot of the stuff that we've talked about, Johns, all offseason, the hits principle coming through. Maybe the weather helped. The Bears, anyone who's going to blame this on the weather for the Bears win, can we just get real and acknowledge the fact that the weather probably cost the Bears 5 points in this game? They missed 2 extra points, and they had another field goal wiped out because they apparently thought they could dry the field with a towel. Which is a ridiculous premise to begin with.
I laughed at that because he was out there with the towel, like trying to do whatever. But at that point, it was well saturated. I understand that the field conditions, the rainy conditions played a factor in it too. But, the 49ers were playing in it as well, right? Weren't they supposed to be the better team? They had more penalties. They were sloppy. The Bears defense forced more turnovers. They were the better team on this Sunday by the end of the day. They were.
Well, here's the key, though, Johns. They managed to play physical but be disciplined at the same time. That's a hard thing to do in football because too many times you get physical, you get after the whistle, you get penalties, things start adding up.
The best example of that, Adam, is when Justin Fields got hit late. And his entire offense, I want to say all 10 guys were out there, but they just stood around the linebacker. Didn't do anything. I think I saw a couple knees.
Yeah, it got a little bad at the end. I was worried another flag was going to come out towards the end, though.
Oh, for unsportsmanlike?
The one where they got the helmet-to-helmet hit, where the guy apparently concussed himself.
Yes.
Cody Whitehair got in there a little late pushing, and I was just like, oh, no, here comes the extra flag. But you're right. It didn't happen, and they are backing up their quarterback.
These comments are getting distracting for a second. I'm going to turn them off, at least on my screen.
That's fine.
The Kyle Green comment here is fantastic.
What does it say?
Can Hoge say, I'm not an offensive coordinator? Yeah. Just do it.
They were doing this on the CHGO show, too. They think I sound like Fox. Yeah. I'm not an offense coordinator. I'm not a defense coordinator. I'm not a special teams coordinator, but I coordinate all three.
Yeah. John Fox just lost his voice because he was out all night, but, that's a different story. But the defense played well throughout. They were physical, very physical. Roquan Smith was physical. It was good to see Jaquan Brisker get involved. Eddie Jackson had a pick. The pass rush was good. Dominique Robinson, the rookie, sack and a half.
That's a great debut.
Outstanding performance.
Yeah, little Mark Anderson there is what that was reminding me of. Rookie. Like kind of your third or fourth defensive end coming in there, you're asking him to make a play in a timely moment, and he did it. So,
I think in general, it was a good day for the young players. I know Kyler Gordon got mixed up and turned around in coverage a bit, but he made a touchdown-saving tackle in Deebo Samuel. He was physical and run support. The way he closed off the edge on one sweep early in the game, that's impressive. Very impressive. Again, Jaquan Brisker all over the field. You saw Roquan Smith be a threat. I thought Justin Jones had a good game. Dominique Robinson. Then on the opposite side, on offense, I saw some good things from Braxton Jones by the end of it. Tevin Jenkins was on the field for Khalil Herbert's touchdown. Those are good things.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about that. So it's a little bit of a different setup with us this year where I'm not at the games and you are. So I want to make sure I asked you the right questions to find out what happened post-game in the locker room. What was the explanation from Flus on that rotation? Because that kind of surprised me. All this talk about finding the best 5 guys. What do they have, 6?
Well, one just happens to be like your prized free agent signing in Lucas Patrick, who was brought here to help change the culture, right?
Sure.
The guy that has like the ultimate trust of Luke Getsy. I know what you're saying. I'm trying to see it both ways. Lucas Patrick is everything I just said. He was one of their first free agent additions. He knows the scheme. He's a strong voice in that locker room. Doesn't have the C, but he's a team leader. Then you have Tevin Jenkins making his first career start against the 49ers, who, again, have one of the best defensive lines in the game. So if they wanted to give both those guys action, I'm okay with it. I'm not sold that they're going to keep doing this. Matt Eberflus made it sound like this might just be a one-week thing. I think Lucas Patrick is getting closer to returning. Ultimately, the decision on the table for the Bears is whether or not Lucas Patrick is better off at guard or center. Mustafer's out of there. Patrick at center, Jenkins at guard, or is it Mustafer at center and Patrick at guard? That's going to be the decision, is it not? But for one game, I understand the rotation if you want to develop Tevin Jenkins, but also get Lucas Patrick back into the mix after missing the entire training camp.
Yeah, it was just interesting to see. I was worried at the beginning because Jenkins did get beat. Like, they just bench him that fast? Like, that's a quick trigger. But it turned out it was a rotation going back and forth. So
it looked like every 2 series.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting way to go about it. What else did you learn from the locker room? Nice having the locker room open post-game again.
Yeah, Dante Pettis' touchdown reception. Obviously a nice play by Justin Fields. I asked Pettis where he is in the progression of the actual play. He said based on the coverage, he could be number 1 all the way to number 3, just based on what they're doing. It looked like in this case, he was 2 or 3 as he went left and Pettis was on the right. But that's an outstanding play by Fields. Well, let's just be honest. I don't care if Pettis was wide open. To elude the pressure of 2 49ers defenders, to go to your left, look back to your right, to see him open like that, outstanding play. As far as the touchdown to Equanimous St. Brown, he was the second read on that play. The first read on that touchdown play action play in the red zone, was Kari Blasingame, the fullback. St. Brown said that he was supposed to set a pick, which he kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's supposed to carry that corner route, which he did, and Fields found him open. I think everybody in the stadium saw Byron Pringle wide open on that play as well.
Yep.
He was coming across, crosser, going to the backside. But Fields later said that's his third read. So 2 guys wide open on that play. You've mentioned this before, just the play design that Luke Getsy has. Like that's a good example of what Luke Getsy can do.
Yeah, and I just think, like, in general, the adjustments that were made, it was ugly in the first half. Like, it really was. It was, here they go again, can't get first downs. I think they had 3 net passing yards in the first half. Like, we've seen those ridiculous games before, and here it's happening again. But, you know, they made the adjustments. I think even just like the going to Khalil Herbert, even in the right times. David Montgomery, whatever reason, I don't know if it was on him or it was on the 49ers, they bottled him up. But it seemed like when they put Khalil Herbert in, when they gave him the ball at the right times, he was much more efficient running the football today. So
Khalil Herbert, 9 carries for 45 yards and his touchdown. David Montgomery, 17 carries for 26 yards, 1.5 yards gained per average. Not good. Khalil Herbert, if I'm being objective in this, looked more decisive.
Okay.
But sometimes the blocking just looked better.
Yeah.
The Bears' offensive line got better as the game went on. It really did.
Yeah. How did the turf hold up with all that rain? I mean, that was some bad luck to get that type of rain. We haven't really covered a game like that before.
Do you want me to give you like a look? I'll give you a look right now. I'll pick
Sure.
up this computer. Let's see if I can get this done. Can you see it?
A little bit. A little bit. This is a big glare is the problem. But we got a little bit.
It's a little bit. It's good. I'm looking at it right now. There's standing water like in the corners by the tunnels.
It seemed to me, John's, like it held up well. It was just not draining all that well.
Maybe Bermuda doesn't. Maybe it holds water.
Well, maybe because it's stitched so tight.
Although, like
they talked about.
This could be a bad analogy, but Like I had sod put in, and it kind of right away before it settles, it kind of holds water on top of it a bit. Could be a bad analogy because obviously this is a bigger project than my backyard. But right now, there's no standing water. I'll be honest, I thought there'd be more mud, a lot more mud, and it didn't seem to be a sloppy game. It was a very wet game, but the mud was minimal.
Well, and just imagine this weather on the old turf. It would have been a disaster. Right?
Yeah. No, it looks good. I want to say it was in the middle of the fourth quarter where it was completely flooded.
Yes.
Guys were starting to have fun with it. At least the Bears defense was starting to have fun with it because the weather was clearly impacting what the 49ers wanted to do. So the situations helped. Bears were up 19-10. They had to throw the ball to pass rusher's dream, right? That's what you want. Late game situations with a big lead. That's how you get your sacks. And the field helped.
Yeah.
It clearly did. Like there was a play before the celebration at the end where Roquan Smith, I want to say it was Eddie Jackson. I could be wrong. Eddie Jackson or Jalen Johnson. They made a play on the edge, and Roquan Smith jumped over and slid a bit. You could just see the guys having fun in the rain with the pooling water, the flooding waters, I should say, in Soldier Field. The defense was having fun with it all the way.
Well, look, I don't know if you're able to see it right at the end of the game, but the shot of them all sliding in the end zone. I said it right away. Like, I don't know how good or bad the Bears are going to be this year, but this still is going to be one of those games that you remember. Like, one of those moments you remember. Like, hey, remember Matt Eberflus's first game? They got the upset, and all the players did something we've never seen before, slide in the end zone. I mean, that was really cool. Especially, like, I know Fields looks badass, and he slid for, like, 25 feet. But the old lineman.
Look at Braxton Jones. If you're watching on YouTube right now, like I know many of you are, you could see the video from, the NFL and Bleacher Report. But it was a fun moment. Fields said after the game that it was a suggestion of one of the offensive linemen to go out and do that. And Justin Fields' reaction at that moment was like, hell yes, absolutely. That's how we're going to celebrate this after, I think they were in victory formation for 2 plays.
Yeah.
So fitting conclusion on what was a pretty sloppy day, field condition wise.
And
way to make the most of it.
There's an awesome photo of Fields just spread out like this, and the offensive lineman in the background all sliding. Like, that's a photo you want framed and put up. So very cool win for the Bears. Great start to the season. What is this? How do you put it into context? What does this mean, Johnsy?
Well, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning of this. I thought they had a shot because I thought Fields was going to be the better quarterback coming into this. I thought he showed it by the end of this. Again, the field conditions, the rain, it played a factor. But Fields was the better quarterback. He made more plays when his team needed him to make those plays by the end of the game. In the grand scheme of things, look, they got the Packers next. Yeah. They're going to be heavy dogs again. I don't think they've changed anybody's minds nationally.
What about the Pack? The Packers are down 20-0 right now.
Okay. I wasn't following, but
yeah,
there was something that Fields said after the game that I think is a strong message, a strong indicator that Matt Eberflus's messages are sticking. He repeated something about mental toughness or mental stamina and physical stamina. Good. Those are Eberflus messages. When you hear players repeat those messages, not only repeat them, but kind of show you that they believe in them. Like that was this game. This game in the rain against a very good defense required some level of not only physical stamina, but mental stamina. It was an awful game to like. I think outdoor games are fun like this, but playing in them can wear on you a bit. I thought it wore on the 49ers, and I thought the Bears had fun with it. And kept going with it as it got worse and worse out there.
Yeah, and I think what's even cooler about that, Johns, is the fact that the offense was so bad in the first half. Almost, if you're following like Twitter, all these national guys that have been hating on the Bears all offseason, they were doing victory laps. It was 7-0. know what I mean? Like, and then it was 10-0. And a lot of people were like, this is over. Like, Bears can't move the ball. But they stuck with all that stuff that they've been talking about and believing in. And they end up scoring the last 19 points of the game. It should have been 21.
Yeah, let's not forget there's a second half. Everybody.
Yeah.
I understand the 49ers can be everybody's.
But I guess my point is,
darlings to a certain extent. Sorry,
in
go on.
the past, I think they wouldn't have been able to come back. Like even last season when the Bears were down in that situation, you're like, this thing's over. Like this is ugly now. It's just going to get uglier. So I just think it's significant that they were able to come from behind, because I thought they had a path to win too, even though I ultimately picked the 49ers. But I thought they'd be playing with a lead in that scenario. I thought that they would be, controlling the tempo early, getting off to a good start. So the fact that they were down 10-0 and sparked all that, I think it counts for even more getting this victory.
Yeah. Someone turned the lights off on me in here, so maybe it's time to go. But I think to build on that mental stamina point, to build on that physical stamina point, kind of lost my train of thought as somebody came through here. But, this means something. Something's clicking with this Bears team, and I get that they're kind of overlooked. I get that nobody's going to pick them, but they're not a 3-win team. They're not. I never felt that, and I think you saw that. Yeah,
amen to that. We've been trying to say that. So it's not all going to play out like this every week, but I think the word frisky I've used, the Bears are going to be frisky this season. I think if you're on the gambling side of things, I think they're a team that can win you some money when they're dogs. The day the schedule came out and this was labeled as the 49ers as 6.5-point favorites, I was like, that's a game you're going to want to jump on. That's a game you're going to want to jump on. So,
well, back to like your point. Now I remember what you're saying, like about them being dominated in the first half. The Bears are only down 10-0, and they lost the field position game early on the game.
Yeah,
it was so bad. It was such in favor of Trey Lance and that 49ers offense. But the Bears defense only allowed 10 points. They forced a fumble. That's not a fluke either. The Bears have practiced that religiously since the offseason program, especially on the edges with the defensive backs. You see them happen. We haven't seen them happen in a long time here with the Bears, but we've seen it happen here before. Charles Tillman was in the stands today. That's not by accident that Jalen Johnson forced fumble. It's not. So if we're talking about them being dominated in the first half, I would say that the 49ers failed to capitalize on their opportunities to actually turn this into dominance.
Absolutely. And the penalties killed them too. All right. My voice is telling me it is time to end this because it's getting worse.
So did somebody turn off the lights.
Somebody turned the lights off on you. So if you wouldn't mind do me a favor and just telling people where to read us and all that jazz, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, man, I'm such a good teammate.
Yeah.
He's on allchgo.com. You know me. I'm on theathletic.com. I'll have a column up on Justin Fields, I think, in about 30 minutes to an hour. So please check that out. Please rate and review the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and then check out our merchandise. I think the hats are back on obviousshirts.com. There it is. Thanks, Ken.
All right. We'll go longer in the future. I promise. Bears 1-0. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you Tuesday. Hopefully my voice is back.
See ya.